You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, I wanted to share another clip with you from my interview with Stephen Holgate from Dale Carnegie Training on the Sales Success Stories podcast. It's one thing to know that we should do something in our sales process, but sometimes we have to learn lessons the hard way around why we need to do those things. And it's these real-world lessons and experiences that teach us so much. Here's Stephen.
I know there's definitely lessons I've had along the way that as I've looked back, there's been realizations that then has shaped how I go about sales now. I'll give you one example, one that probably still just like bugs me to this day, but it was a good lesson learned for myself. So with this main client who I had already been working with him for a couple of years, one day, one of my points of contact had asked me about a very specific set of training and asked whether we deliver this specific set of training around enterprise solution selling. And at the time, for whatever reason, I don't actually even remember the specifics of this, but for whatever mood I was in or whatever belief I had, whatever was happening, they asked whether we did this specific training. And I said, actually, no, that's not part of our curriculum. No, we don't do that. Cool, right? Conversation over. At the time, I thought she was asking about us delivering like this one day, never to be repeated program. And I think I just thought, well, that's, we're already doing this other work. The reality is that program's not part of our specialty. That's all it is. It's not worth chasing that one day of training for us. What I realized later when I found out about 3 months, 6 months time is it wasn't for a one-day training program. It was to launch that program across their entire national accounts program around the world that would have added perhaps 100 days of training per year on an ongoing basis. And me being an absolute moron, obviously, didn't do what all of us as good salespeople know, which is I should have been asking follow-up questions and probing and asking more detail and all of that sort of stuff, which for whatever reason I didn't do at that time. And now I just always think that if ever I hear any opportunity, even if it doesn't initially sound like it hits the sweet spot, to ask more follow-up questions and probe a little bit more deeply and figure out what the true request is, not what the one I'm assuming it is.
I'd love to hear what lesson you've had to learn the hard way. Join the conversation at dailysales.tips/106. In addition to links to Stephen's full episode on sales success stories and his LinkedIn profile and all of that, you'll also find a link to register for the webinar that we're going to be doing together on May 21st, where I'm going to dig into the principles of top 1% level sales success. It's a free webinar, and everyone who joins in will get a free copy of our new B2B Sales Mentors book. So I hope you'll check this out and join us. Then come back tomorrow for a tip from Sean Finder, the CEO of AutoClose.